Hello everyone. This is lesson 18. One of the most dramatic moments, difficult moments in Abraham's life. It's entitled His Sacrifice of His Son Isaac. What you see here is a picture of Abraham communicating with Spirit. Let me read the text. And the gods tested Abraham. They said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go into the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, to which I will guide you." So Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, "My father." And he said, "Here I am, my son." He said, "Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" Abraham said, "The gods will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." So they went off, both of them together. We've got to remember that this is an allegory. It's an allegory about each one of us. Each one of us is invited to sacrifice our Isaac, our most precious possession, in order to evolve in life. For example, if I'm attached to my money, and that false self is causing me to worry and be concerned and not being in the present and not being me, Spirit will provide me with an opportunity to be detached from that money, perhaps by donating it to somebody who needs it, perhaps by not using it in a particular way. But I will be asked to sacrifice that Isaac if that is the most important thing blocking me from evolving from this level of truth and love to a higher level. So the false self that we most defend and promote is our Isaac. That's what has to be sacrificed. And that's what, so Isaac is a symbol of something that has to be given up in order to give ourselves totally to ourselves, to others, and to Spirit. What I'd like to ask you right now is to pause the video and ask yourself right now, what is your Isaac? For example, if I was to ask Carmen that, her Isaac is her obsession with having a child. But behind that is her obsession to have a meaningful life. She is possibly in a midlife crisis. I don't know. She have to decide that. For Bill, what his Isaac is probably has something to do with the sea, his surfing, his diving, his enchantment with the beauty underneath the ocean. And how he would be called to sacrifice that, I don't know. But there's always something that's blocking us from moving to a higher level. And the most important thing blocking us is our Isaac. I hope you took the time to identify your Isaac, because this now will be meaningful to you. Let me read the text. When they came to the place of which the gods had told him, Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Then Abraham put forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of being called to him from heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham," and he said, "Here I am." He said, "Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear being. You have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. Abraham has been prevented from fully killing Isaac. What he did is went through the psychological process of giving up a false self. When that happens, we are given back our real self in an even higher level of truth and love. The following passage expresses that. And the angel of being called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, abundantly I will bless you and multiply your descendants as the stars in the heavens and the grains of sand in the seashore. Further, your descendants will possess the gate of their enemies, and by your descendants all the nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. He's talking about people on the way of the soul. Because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your most precious false self, I will bless you. And I will multiply your descendants. Those are descendants on the way of the soul, as the stars in the heavens and the grains of sand in the seashore. So he's not talking about just multiplying Jews. He's talking about multiplying anybody on the way of the soul. Further, your descendants will possess the gate of their enemies. Those on the way of the soul will defeat those on the way of the mind. And by your descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. So eventually, this is a prediction that the world will be united on the way of the soul because enough people will obey the voice of Spirit. Abraham has just gone through the difficult process of choosing to give up his attachment to something that has become a false self. If Bill chooses to give up diving and goes ahead and takes steps to do that, what the passage said is he will probably be given something else even greater. Perhaps he'll be given a business that will teach people diving. But my experience is that we almost have to go through the process of giving up completely what we're obsessed with in order to be given something more. In my experience, when we choose to give up a false self, we are always given something greater, something more fulfilling, something that fills us with more life, with more love, and really provides all that we unconsciously wanted. Carmen may have to decide to give up her obsession with having a child. She in turn will be given something. That's guaranteed. Jesus put it this way. Let's read his passage. The blessed ones, they are those who have persecuted themselves in their own hearts. In other words, to be blessed, as Abraham was promised in the covenant, one must confront himself. One must be aware of his false selves. One must be aware of the process of seeking and finding how to rid himself of his obstacles to being one with himself, others, and spirit. Let me read you a second poem by Jesus. Jesus said, "You are the blessed ones." Jesus is teaching the covenant. When he uses the word blessed, that's where he's getting the word. Jesus said, "You are the blessed ones when they hate you and persecute you. For they will discover not any place where you have not persecuted yourself." Let me read that again. Jesus said, "You are the blessed ones when they hate you and persecute you." When you are a Joan of Arc, when you are one with yourself, when you walk into a room and you're totally yourself, and you're not living the expectations of others, everyone notices that. You are to be adored as divinity walking in that room. That will cause people to hate you. There will be people who will be jealous of you. Those are the ones who will be cursed. There will be other people who will see the divinity in you and want to learn from you. And they are the ones who will be blessed. But those who hate you will discover not any place where you have not persecuted yourself. In other words, you haven't got a false self that they can attack. You've already eliminated it. And so you can just smile. They can attack all they want, and you're there. You are the mountain in the room. That is the goal of the covenant, to make us all powerful persons in the world. This is the end of lesson 18. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it. I've enjoyed talking to you about it, about Isaac and Abraham. If you did like it, would you click on like below? If you have comments and questions, put those below and I will answer them. I thank you for coming, and I look forward to you on lesson 19.